Hey there, pool enthusiasts. Let's talk about keeping your watery oasis sparkling. We all love a refreshing dip on a hot day, right? But nobody wants to swim in a murky soup of algae and sunscreen. That's where your trusty Intex sand filter pump comes in. This workhorse is essential for a clean and healthy swimming experience. It circulates the water, removes debris, and keeps things crystal clear. But what happens when your pump decides to take a break? Don't worry, we've got you covered. Before we jump in, remember safety first. Water and electricity don't mix well. Always disconnect the power before tinkering with your pump. Think of it like diffusing a water balloon. You don't want any unexpected surprises. Now let's dive into some troubleshooting tips to get your Intex sand filter pump back in action and your pool party ready. Get ready to channel your inner detective and solve the mystery of the stalled pump. It's all about breaking down the problem and tackling it step by step. Let's go! First things first, let's check the obvious. You'd be surprised how often the simplest solution is the right one. Make sure your pump is plugged in securely. We're talking about a good, solid connection here. Next, examine the power cord for any damage. Cracks, cuts, or exposed wires are a big no-no. If you spot any problems, it's time for a replacement cord. Safety first, remember? Don't forget to check the circuit breaker. It might have tripped, cutting off power to your pump. Flip the breaker switch off and then back on to reset it. Sometimes that's all it takes to get things flowing again. Remember, we're aiming for a smooth flow of electricity to your pump. Any interruptions along the way can bring the whole operation to a halt. Keep that power flowing like a perfectly formed water slide. The control panel is the brain of your Intex sand filter pump. It's time to give this command center a quick once-over. Make sure the timer is set correctly and the pump is actually turned on. It sounds simple, but you'd be surprised. Next, inspect the pressure gauge. Is the needle within the normal range? High pressure could indicate a clogged filter, while low pressure might mean there's a leak somewhere in the system. If you're rocking a fancy model with multiple settings, make sure you've selected the right one. Think of it like choosing the right gear on a bike. You need the appropriate setting for optimal performance. Remember, the control panel is your friend. It provides valuable information about your pump's status. Pay attention to any error messages or blinking lights, as they could point you in the right direction. A dirty or clogged filter is a common culprit behind a pump that won't start. It's like trying to breathe through a straw clogged with a smoothie. Not easy. Your filter needs a good cleaning every now and then to function properly. Check your filter for any visible debris, tears or damage. If it's looking particularly grimy, give it a good rinse with a garden hose. For a deeper clean, follow the manufacturer's instructions for backwashing or chemically cleaning the filter. Remember, a clean filter is a happy filter, and a happy filter means a happy pump. Regular maintenance is key to keeping your pool sparkling and your pump running smoothly. Don't let those filters turn into a science experiment. Section 5, motor mouth. Listen for the hum. The motor is the heart of your Intex sand filter pump, and a silent motor is a sure sign of trouble. Put your ear close to the pump, but not too close, and listen for a gentle hum. If you hear it, that means the motor is at least trying to turn. If the motor is completely silent, it could be a sign of a more serious issue, like a blown capacitor or a burnt-out winding. These problems require a bit more expertise to diagnose and repair. Don't worry, we'll cover those in a bit. In the meantime, check for any obstructions around the motor, like leaves, twigs, or small animals seeking a cool haven. You'd be surprised what can find its way into the nooks and crannies of your pool equipment. Remember, the motor is a powerful piece of equipment. If you're not comfortable tinkering with it, it's best to call in a professional. Better safe than sorry. Section 6, advanced moves for the intrepid pool owner. Feeling adventurous? If you're handy with tools and comfortable working with electrical components, there are a few more things you can check. Remember, safety first. Always disconnect the power before attempting any repairs. First, inspect the impeller. This small fan-like device is responsible for moving water through the pump. If it's damaged or clogged, it can prevent the motor from starting. Carefully remove the impeller housing and check for any cracks, chips, or debris. Next, examine the capacitor. This small cylindrical component stores electrical energy and helps start the motor. If the capacitor is bulging or leaking, it needs to be replaced. Be careful when handling capacitors, as they can hold a charge even when disconnected. Remember, these advanced troubleshooting steps are best left to experienced DIYers. If you're not confident in your abilities, it's always best to call a professional. Section 7. Tool time gear up for pump repair. Every pool owner should have a few basic tools on hand for minor pump maintenance. Don't worry, you don't need a workshop full of gadgets. A few essentials will do the trick. First up, a trusty screwdriver set. You'll need both Phillips and flathead screwdrivers in various sizes. These will come in handy for tightening loose connections, opening up housings, and general tinkering. Next, a pair of pliers. These are essential for gripping, turning and pulling wires, hoses, and other components. Look for a pair with insulated handles for added safety when working around electricity. Finally, a multimeter. This handy device measures voltage, current, and resistance, allowing you to test electrical components and circuits. It's a valuable tool for diagnosing electrical problems with your pump. Section 8. Call in the pros when to wave the white flag. Sometimes, despite our best efforts, the problem remains a mystery. Don't worry, even the most experienced DIYers know when to call in the professionals. If you've gone through all the troubleshooting steps and your Intex sand filter pump still won't turn on, it's time to wave the white flag. Look for a qualified pool technician who specializes in Intex pumps. They have the knowledge, experience, and tools to diagnose and repair complex issues that are beyond the scope of a typical homeowner. Remember, attempting to fix a problem beyond your skill level can be dangerous and potentially cause further damage. When in doubt, call in the experts and let them work their magic. So there you have it. Armed with these troubleshooting tips, you're well on your way to becoming a pool pump pro. Remember, a little maintenance goes a long way in keeping your pool sparkling and your pump running smoothly. Now go forth and conquer those pump problems.